Hey, what's up everyone, this is Sean and welcome back to another brand new video here on the Magic and Thrills. Hey, what's up everyone, this is Sean and welcome back to another brand new video here on the Magic and Thrills. Now, in this video I wanted to kind of go through and discuss a little bit about what's kind of going on, maybe a little bit with Disney World as a company and Disney as a company. So that's what we'll kind of primarily focus on that, but basically, right now, I kind of feel like Disney World is in a weird, kind of, not stagnant state, but they kind of are at the same time. So this is really going to focus on the Villains Land expansion, if you will, or that construction starting at some point, where that's going to go in Magic Kingdom, and also just what they're doing as a company a little bit, because like, if we back up a little bit, so D23 last year, Destination D23 is when Disney World or Disney as a company, really, it's their corporate event that they have either in Florida or in California every year, and they basically announce what's coming up in the next year, or future ideas, blue sky ideas, so to speak, which are things that essentially, if that they're throwing out there as an idea as a corporation, as a company, and they may or may not do. They don't really ever set a date on them, and sometimes they don't even ever actually follow through with them, but they at least announce them as ideas to kind of hype up the audience, because that audience at Destination D23 is really, really the diehard Disney fans. Because you have to pay to get into the event, and it's not cheap. I almost wanted to go, and it was like a couple $100, for a single access. I mean, the event itself is a weekend, and it's really fun to do from what I've heard, and everyone that I've seen do it. It's not at all a bad experience, but it's not cheap either. So it's really so everything that they announce, it's like that. It's their announcement time frame for the next few years, the next year, movies that are coming out. They announce all the movies. They announce new things for Disney Plus, for the streaming service. All that stuff comes out at Destination D23. And last year, they definitely did that, and again, this is going to be a little bit, of course, in relation to Epic Universe, which was already, pretty much mid-construction or nearly done almost in a way for the primary construction. So there's a lot of drama and weird, almost not hype, if you will, but just a different kind of hype for Disney, where it was like, hey, Universal has this brand new gate, as we call it, meaning new theme park. It's being built. It's opening up in 6 months or 7 months later at that time. And what is Disney going to do to counteract that hype, counteract that market share loss that they're going to have for sure at some point? And so there was a lot of just drama behind this D23 event. And Disney Parks, the chairman, Josh D'Amaro, he was there along with all the other people for their own projects. But basically, he and the rest of the team of his team came out there, and they really kind of they did announce certain things. So like Monsters Inc. Land for Disney's Hollywood Studios, they announced, and that's going to start pretty soon. So there is projects that are starting soon for construction, for sure. There is themes and land, so there is obviously the Rivers of America retheming to Cars Land, but now that's under a weird kind of dramatic, stalling out kind of thing, from what I've heard from sources and things like that, where where Disney doesn't know if they're going to move forward with it because of how much kickback that they got. Because basically, even the Rivers of America theming, the whole idea for that or I should say, Cars Land during D23 was announced as just an expansion of Magic Kingdom at D23, and that was on a Friday, I believe, or a Saturday. It was a weekend thing again, so that was announced, and then and Josh D'Amaro was the one that announced it, and he basically did not speak about or talk about where it was going to be. He just said it was going to be in Magic Kingdom, and that was it. And then where the drama starts really behind all this is that on Monday, floor plans and concept art was heavily dropped by Disney themselves for Cars Land, and then the whole entire process, when the whole tumbleweed of drama started, because they officially announced that the Rivers of America area of Magic Kingdom, which is all the back in Tom Sawyer's Island, all of that would be gone and taken away and just destroyed to make room and to make the construction for Cars Land. And it really made a lot of hardcore Disney fans angry. I personally don't really care. I love Disney as it is. I grew up, I grew up going there as a child. I have all the nostalgia for it, and it's a beautiful area for sure. But at the same time, I'm also a very, very progressive person by nature, so I like the idea of change. I feel like if there is a continuation, as there has been, for ticket prices to go up, and especially with Epic Universe for Universal being the newest thing now, and they haven't opened up, like, there hasn't really been a new gate, so to speak, meaning like a new theme park, a new park, not just a land, but a park in over 20 years in Orlando. There hasn't been one. So Epic Universe has all that going for it. So again, when Disney announced that they were doing an expansion of Magic Kingdom, people were stoked about it for sure. And then they announced Villains Land, which I'll get to here in a few minutes, as well, and because they had to do that, they had to reignite the Disney hype a little bit to counteract everything possible for what Universal is doing in Orlando, because Universal right now is owning that market share. They're giving annual pass holders good things. They're from everything I've heard from all the reviews of Epic Universe from team member previews, is that the ride technology, especially on like Monsters Unchained, and I made a video about this too, the technology is so next level that it really does put Disney to shame for nostalgia in a weird way, because Disney has been the king of Orlando tourism for decades now, and Universal is definitely putting themselves on the map, or trying to, for sure, in that moment right now. So again, back to that. So that whole thing was again, all this was announced at Destination D23 on Friday or Saturday with that big presentation, like for like 3-4 hours, and then Monday all the official plans of people dropped and were released and announced in the schematics a little bit. Again, for Cars Land, taking over Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer's Island, and all the drama of that started, and then people kind of went into a weird phase, which is where we are now, which is where now, and that's kind of where I wanted to go in this video, which was basically the idea that I feel like Villains Land is a really, really cool idea. I know a lot of Disney fans, including myself, have wanted it for years, where it's like, hey, take all your villains, or the majority of them, from all your classic hit, nostalgic movies that you've had over the years, and put them all in one place. But the tricky part about that, I would say too, is that Disney really runs into kind of their own little, family-friendly theme park kind of like stop sign in a way, or like a hold up kind of way, because of the fact that they don't really have any kind of market share, if you will, or any kind of experience, if you will, of a dark themed experience. That's really Universal's area. Universal has Halloween Horror Nights. They've had it for over 30 years. They have the new Vegas experience opening up. They have all that stuff happening, and they own that market share. They own I don't know if I'm going to say horror, but they own the darkness themed stuff for entertainment in the world. They really do, for a theme park at least. So when Josh D'Amaro announced Villains Land, people obviously went crazy. They loved it and they wanted that idea. But now you are into all the blockades of like, okay, well, how dark is too dark, in a sense, because the Disney movies that have the villains, like they have some pretty dark villains in these movies, which is great. It's cool as part of the story. But it's like your theme parks, though, on their own, are very, very much they're a family-friendly, family-themed experience where you go to have fun. So it's like, are you going to take the darkest themes of those movies as far as the characters and the villains go and really put them into a fun-loving park? Do you do it that way? Or do you really go dark with it and make everything really dark and really themed? Not as obviously not gory at all, but maybe not as villainous as their movie scenes or movie parts are. But it's a very, very, very fine line to do that correctly, in my opinion, because again, you can have all the dark theming that you want to, but at one point you're going to scare the crap out of kids, because again, these are really overall, they're kids movies. I mean, they're family movies, but they're kids love movies from the past decades, and even the newer ones, even the new films that Disney's put out for the original stories. Like, they have villains for sure, but it's like, how dark can you make that? How dark can you take those storylines into a theme park, whether it's a meet and greet or whatever else, to where it's going to be, to where you're not scarring children from these movies that they fell in love with. Like, that's the tricky part about it. And it also brings me to another aspect of Disney's future, because with Disney, it's, they are right now, at least, and there's even in the recent few days and weeks, there's been a lot of even Imagineers that have come out with all the, because it seems like there's also been news that Disney is now almost stepping back or backstepping, if you will, about the entire idea of where they're putting Cars Land, because there's been so much negative feedback on what they're doing with it and how they're taking it apart and screwing back together Magic Kingdom in a way, and people just aren't a fan of it. I don't care personally. I'm down for whatever. I'm down for change, but not everyone is stoked about that. So when you have Imagineers coming out that have built these lands, have created these lands mentally, and then helped them build them essentially, or the ideas at least. When you have Imagineers coming out and saying, "Hey, this isn't a good idea. You're destroying your own legacy on your own without even trying to do it," really, that's another issue. You don't want to have that happen either. So I just feel like that Disney as a company, and I love Disney as a company. I do. I want them to succeed, but I feel like with every step forward right now that they're making, or every idea they're announcing, or every whatever they're announcing for even films, like they're really, in my opinion, they're really kind of doing the wrong thing right now with their films. Like they're either making sequels to hits, which is fine, that's normal, but they're also taking all of their animated classics that they're known for, taking all those classic movies, and they're literally just seemingly rehashing them into live action, and I don't like that. I'm not saying it's a bad idea necessarily, but to me, when a studio as big as Disney, as prominent as Disney is, when a studio starts doing that, when they stop coming out with original ideas and they just continuously do sequels all the time, because we have, I think, Toy Story 5 was announced at D23, and even yesterday, Coco 2 was announced. So, I mean, again, I'm not in any way against sequels, but when all you're announcing is retheming your animated movies to live action, and then announcing sequels as your primary bread and butter of how you're making money, that to me it's a slippery slope, because it means that you don't have any more creative ideas in your team for new stories. And now Pixar is a whole different entity than Disney. They are owned by Disney, obviously, but they are, even there, it seems like they're having a little bit of trouble, because I've not really seen at all a new original story from Pixar in years now. They have sequels coming out, and they're probably focused on those and all that, but I swear it used to be just a couple years ago where Pixar even was was releasing a new movie every month in theaters. It was always new and original, and now it seems like, whether it's on Disney Plus, because I feel like Disney Plus is kind of drowning financially for Disney, because that's where they're putting all their original stories. So like all the original Star Wars stories, all the side series from Star Wars are all going into Disney Plus, and I've always been curious, because I don't watch them. I don't care about Star Wars, but every time I hear about a new original story by Disney, it defaults. It goes on Disney Plus. They don't really have anymore, or currently at least, any feature length, any movies to go out in theaters, and I feel like that's kind of destroying their hype a little bit, as far as like just their business model is not working out, because they're losing money on Disney Plus, and that's just a thing I've been noticing lately too. So again, I feel like Villains Land is a cool idea in theory, and it can be done very, very well. But the other part of this too is that, not to make this video super long, but I feel like the other issue is that the next new expansion, not meaning a new park, but a new expansion, not even Cars Land if they go forward with that, but the next expansion that Disney World does, or Disney in general does, if it is not absolutely perfect, meaning aesthetics, character meet and greets, food, rides, experiences, all that, if it's not absolutely perfect from beginning to end, then they're going to be laughed at, honestly, or taken down online by every reviewer ever, because Universal, based on all their Epic Universe reviews right now, it is a next level, newest technology, brand new technology experience that no one thought what they could do, and they're killing it right now in the game. So again, the next thing is that if Disney, whatever they do next for park stuff, for expansions, for a new theme park, for Villains Land, if it actually does happen, they have to absolutely execute it to perfection. Otherwise, I don't know what they're going to do. And the other thing too that's also bothering people, including myself, is that they're taking years and years and years to do any of this stuff, and that's not helpful. I believe Epic Universe was built in 4 or 5 years, and but the thing about Epic Universe was that it was not really, it was announced, but it was not really like hyped up at all until it was only like a year away from being opened up. And with Disney, unfortunately, Disney's got a lot more heftiness to their news cycle, if you will. So I feel like with Disney, like the fact that that none of this stuff, from either whether it's Cars Land or Villains Land, the fact that none of this stuff is even looking to see daylight as far as like being open to anyone for like 5 years is what I'm hearing, is also such an issue as far as like how slow they are. Even their remodels and their construction of existing stuff in parks like Dinoland being taken down and being rethemed is taking forever. So, and I guess I know things take time, but that's just another thing that's going against them right now. So again, let me know what you think about all this as far as, again, Cars Land, Villains Land being a thing, whether or not it becomes a reality or not. And it's all their original stories and how really they haven't done anything new, or I should say original, for a while. So again, let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.